アディアの意向はここに。ベネトらしく言っちゃった。
Hello and welcome. Today we are in the Tier 10 Soviet battleship, the Kremlin. And the captain voiceover is Azurlane's Zara. I dare you, I double dare you to complain about Zara's voiceover. Anyway, these are the captain skills and upgrades that I used at the time, but I would change them to these instead right now. Basically take the captain skill that gives you an extra heal when you hit 2 million potential damage, and take the fire and flooding reduction upgrade instead of acceleration. We are in a ranked battle, and my plan is to sail into the sea cap, push them out of it, potentially take it, and then back off, because battleships are very good at tanking, but they are better at tanking if they tank for a little while, then back off to heal, and then they can do some more tanking. Effectively, you want to swap the ships that are tanking damage, because this allows you to stretch the HP they have for longer. What's really surprising in this match is that I actually have 2 other teammates that decided to join me in this sea cap. The destroyer went to the A cap, and I think the enemy destroyer also went to the B cap. So this is actually battleship and cruiser land. And I had a Zal and a Mecklenburg come with me. Okay, so we are pretty close to the enemies. It might be time to start turning around, because I don't have particularly great secondaries. Now, turning around in a Kremlin is a little bit dangerous, but this cap is actually pretty okay for this, because there are so many small islands that you can absolutely disappear for the couple of seconds where you are vulnerable with your broadside. Ho ho! 15,000 damage to the Colombo. Nice. And she's firing AP. This is even nicer. I hope the Colombo keeps firing AP forever. Well, unless he's on my team, then please fire SAP. But if you're on the enemy team, keep firing AP. That is clearly the best option. Okay, so most of the enemies have positioned themselves behind the giant island here in front of me, so I can actually just pretty freely turn around here. Sure, there's a Vincent on my potentially broadside, but that's about it. Everything else is behind the big island. At this point, I've done quite a bit of tanking, and we did actually take the sea cap pretty convincingly. There is an enemy destroyer potentially heading in our direction, but our Holland has actually managed to fight her a little bit. So, destroyer-wise, we might actually be at a decent enough position. If Shima pops up, we can shoot her. If not, we're gonna also be disengaging already, so it'll be more difficult for Shimakaze to torpedo us. Hopefully, at least. Map control position-wise, we are in an absolutely commanding position here. The enemy is in a honestly very terrible position. They have a single cap zone, we have 2 of them, and they aren't really in a position to do a push anytime soon. It's gonna take them like 3 to 5 minutes to actually start pushing, and our Holland is actually going for their B cap, which means that we're gonna have all 3 cap zones. The only ship that could go and try to contest it is their no, actually they don't have a Shimakaze, so forget that. I mean, even if they had a Shimakaze, it would be only the Shimakaze completely on her own, versus a Holland and the Venezia, and potentially, you know, my Kremlin and that Mecklenburg as well. They are in a terrible spot now. But I mean, the game isn't over until it's actually over. So, their Colombo and Mecklenburg are both behind that same island still. Vincent is behind their spawn. The cruisers are also behind that island. That's some interesting choices. Oh, hello Napoli. The enemy team said that while we have 3 battleship players, they have 3 carrier players. And looking at the positioning, yeah, actually I guess that's kind of true. I mean, sniping his battleships can be pretty useful, but I think in a smaller match size like ranked, it becomes more and more important for the battleship to do actual tanking. Because you just can't have a mass of cruisers do that instead, unless you have like Petros and Stalingrads and whatnot. Oh wow, and now that they're coming back, they're actually showing side. This is perfect. However, in our position, there is actually a pretty big risk as well. And the risk is that we push too hard. The Mecklenburg, for example, is definitely gonna die. He is way too far forward. He's basically face-checking the entire enemy team that's left of them. All 5 ships. And if you look at our Yamato, Yamato is actually kind of following. She is on a flank that she shouldn't be on, I think. Like, the enemy team could have potentially just eaten our Yamato up earlier. And I think at this point they still might. Because she is showing a lot of broadside to that Cristoforo Colombo. Luckily though, our Venezia and our Holland are in a pretty good position, and because they don't have a destroyer left, technically the Holland can just torpedo them forever. There is absolutely no way for them to detect her, because they don't have a radar. Oh, actually no, they do have a radar cruiser, they have a Salem. But Salem's radar is pretty short range, so Holland really should be able to play around it pretty easily. Okay, nice. We're gonna win in 3 minutes. Very nice. We are gonna probably lose another ship though. I mean, technically it is a 4 versus 5, so the enemy has more ships. Although I don't think this is gonna hold for too long. This Mecklenburg's almost certainly gonna eat it. At least as long as my AP shells do something. Come on, come on. Yes. Excellent. And you know, our team is so far ahead actually that it might be best to just back off, right? Just look at this. Even if the enemy just straight up sails towards our cap zones, it's gonna be very difficult for them to take these in time. So the best course of action might just be to keep sailing away. But of course we still have the Yamato, Venezia and Holland, so maybe that's even unnecessary. Because I mean, they genuinely aren't in a position to take the C cap, the B cap, and let alone the A cap. Wow, Colombo fired SAP, can you believe it? Yamato is pretty low HP and she is pushing into them. I think that's a pretty big mistake. She's just gonna die. She should stop and wait to heal up a little bit. But I suppose it's her ship. Wow, that Salem is genuinely going into like the next match. Sure, she's dealing with the Yamato slowly, but they don't have time for that. I mean, look at the situation on the map. Okay, we actually lost the Yamato, but seriously, they don't have time for Salem going to Narnia, because, well, 1 minute until we win by points. Sure, Napoli is pushing in, but it's only one Napoli. The entire rest of the enemy team should be with the Napoli there. But sadly, they just made the wrong choice. Wait, what? Holland died to the Vincent? How was the Holland ever even spotted? Buddy, what were you doing? You're a torpedo destroyer. Your job is to stay unspotted and torpedo so that the enemies won't know where the torpedoes are coming from. How can you die to a Napoli like that? Oh well, I mean, probably just a mistake. Everyone makes them. It's okay. Napoli is taking the B cap back, but honestly, just the B cap isn't enough. They need something to enter the C cap, which I suppose is gonna be the Cristoforo Colombo. Because the Salem is definitely not gonna be it. Right, she just is too far. Same with the Vincent. So all we really have to do is deal with the Napoli. And we don't technically even have to sink her, we just have to waste her time. Just decap over and over. Although with a Kremlin, that decapping over and over usually comes with a hefty portion of damage. Well, not on this salvo with 2 ricochets, but generally. Still, they do outnumber us 4-2. Or 2-1, I suppose. But we're 54 seconds from winning. Oh, Napoli actually left the cap zone. Wow, buddy, you kind of messed up there. But maybe she was already sliding forward and just couldn't stop in time. Either way, I think... oh, come on! 3 ricochets this time? Man, maybe I actually won't be able to sink the Napoli. And Venezia, for some reason, is actually going back for the B cap. Why? Just sail away, buddy. Just look at what I'm doing. Oh! Goodbye, Venezia, I guess. Well, now it's 4-1. But you know what's overpowered? Cap zones. Cap zones are really overpowered. Goodbye, Venezia. Sorry, Napoli. Venezia too, but she kinda asked for it. Goodbye, Napoli. Napoli was actually trying to win the game. Honestly, if more of the enemy team's players were like that Napoli, they might have won the game. But they weren't. Therefore, I win the game. Me, I win the game. And because there were 4 of them left while it was just me, it means I'm getting a solo warrior. Six versus 6, and I get a solo warrior in this match. Very, very nice. Seriously, in a 6 versus 6 there were 4 enemies still left, and I was the last one standing. It's particularly bizarre because we had such an incredibly commanding lead that it's really surprising that my team was able to lose all of their ships. How do you die as a Holland and a Venezia in this kind of situation? I mean, of course, maybe they looked at it and were like, okay, well, we still have that healthy Kremlin that's sailing away, so I can just go and farm some more damage. Maybe they did that, and that would be completely reasonable because I was actually sailing away, and there was effectively 0 way that they were gonna sink me. Still, they could have potentially thrown the game. Well, sometimes the best course of action is to simply sail away. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your continued support, and I hope I'll see you guys next time.